So our table, you can't lean on our table because it goes up and wobbly.
We're cheap.
Yeah. Should we use rifles to end their rifles? We do that here.
Hey, you're an idiot.
We do that, yeah. I'm speaking, of course, of death row inmates. A Florida lawmaker, and is there any other kind, has introduced a bill that would allow for executions by firing squad. I like how we're all just outrageously laughing as I try to morph into a death row story. Yeah, the proposal by Brad Drake, seen here, would eliminate the state's standard method, lethal injection, and only permit putting inmates to death by electrocution, or firing squad, or when requested both at the same time, which would be enormously effective. It says the obviously Republican state rep, quote, there shouldn't be anything controversial about a .45 caliber bullet. If it were up to me, we would just throw them off the Sunshine Skyway Bridge and be done with it. He added, in the words of Humphrey Bogart, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. I'm so tired of being humane to inhumane people. Actually, I think Cary Grant said that. I don't know about you, but I loved her work.
Oh,
she's fantastic.
She's
She
timeless.
was great. And that is those Nick and Nora movies.
Oh.
Anyway, for more, let's go to Red Eye's chief legal correspondent, Hiccuping Capybara. Let me try that one more time. First, let's go back to correspondent Hiccuping Capybara. We talked about this before we actually did this part. I said I am not going to be able to pronounce that word, but in fact, it's the world's largest rodent. Well, there you have it. You can see why we'll be featuring him every night from now on. Let me ask this. This is a tough issue because obviously, you know, despite the fact that the guy came out with a very strange series of statements about bringing the firing squad into Florida, it's a serious problem, right? I mean, so let's start off with a serious question. Masa,
yes.
Death penalty, yes or no?
Yes in theory, no in practice.
So no all the way around, basically, right?
Look, I would love the pettit guys to be killed, but I just think that the way that it's administered, I feel very strongly that we should abolish the death penalty. But back to this story with the firing squad, I think it is actually a lot more humane. If you look at what they're doing with lethal injections now, they're using a drug that is used to like kill animals. We don't even know the impact it has on people. So I'm going to say that I love the death penalty in theory, but our system isn't perfect. We make mistakes, and so I don't see how you could support it.
You are so conflicted, really. There are people right now watching, listening to your answer, thinking, I don't know where the hell she stands. Jamie, is there possibly any way to make this whole death penalty thing funny?
I agree with all sides of what you just said.
Thank you. It's complicated.
I am
Should we at least give the inmates a cocaine diaper before we all...
I think it'd be a nice gesture. I'm anti-death penalty. I don't want to see an innocent man killed, and that's where I stand on it. And my other question is, how bad of aim are these people? Firing squad? Why not just firing guy? Couldn't a guy do it?
Well, you know what, Chris? You know why they do the firing squad, right?
Is it because they don't want you to know who shoots the actual...
Right, so the person won't know.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact of the matter is, I mean, to your point, though, it is the fact that it's good in theory but bad in practice because we put all these people on death row and they sit on death row for years and years and years. It's not the method of execution, it's the delay in the execution. Once they're put on death row, let's get them through it. You know, it's an assembly line. This is what we do in this country.
Well, I read something at one point about what it costs us to keep somebody on death row per year.
It's millions of dollars.
Are you suggesting like an express lane, like maybe a self-checkout?
Yes, exactly.
Like
yeah.
It's a great idea.
You can opt for it.
You have to have your appeals. What if you're innocent? And it does cost twice as much a death penalty, so that's another reason to get rid of it. Keep them in prison for life, and maybe if they're innocent, you know, we're not going to kill them.
Wait,
Bill, you've got the last word on this one.
I've always been amazed that the far right would be for something that is so expensive. They don't like the spending, last I heard, and so sinful, I would say, as far as killing another person. Last I read my Bible, God is against that. And I would also add that if you were on one of those firing squads, and I know you're not supposed to know who did it, you know right if the guy's head blew up, Baker would be like, me, that was mine, I did that, I got that guy.
I'm calling the shot, of course. You know. some poor guy gets it in the kneecap.
Let's
you
look
know,
at the tape again.
honestly.
No, slow-mo. I got that guy.
Chris, I mean,
right between the eyes.
The lawmaker we're talking about here down in Florida, I mean, you know, the way that he expressed his views, I'd rather just throw them off the Sunshine Bridge. By the way, there's been about 180 suicides off that bridge since it's been constructed.
Talk about expensive. Fishing the bodies out of the water would be expensive. It's not expensive to kill the guy. It's expensive to keep them alive. That's where the expense is. A .45 caliber bullet, a vial of whatever it is they're using now to kill him. That's not expensive.
Right. Well, I mean, to Tomas's point, I understand. I mean, I think your answer was probably very typical of what's out there in the general public, and I do this because that sort of signifies the general public. Is this confliction. They agree that, you know, certain people have given up their rights and should be, you know, offed, but, you know, there's this lingering question, are we getting, you know, are we getting it right every time?
Right.
Anyway, do you have a comment on the show? Yeah? Email us. It's redeye@foxnews.com. And to leave a voicemail on Greg's direct line, call 212-462-5050. And still to come, the Halftime Report from Patty Ann Brown.
Woohoo.
Tonight's Halftime Report is sponsored by remote-controlled cat toys. Those electronic amusements designed for use by people who love the curious antics of felines but prefer to not be in the same room with them. Thanks, remote-controlled cat toys.